Well, welcome everyone to this Q&A event as part of WOW Film Festival 2022. My name is Nia Edwards-Behi, and for those of you who don't know, I'm co-director of Abertoir Horror Festival that happens every year here in Wales as well. And we're really excited to be collaborating once again with the brilliant WOW Film Festival and presenting a strand of films as part of the programme. And it is an absolute delight that we are presenting King Kar as part of that lineup. So it gives me great pleasure to welcome you to this session with Renata Pinheiro, director and co-writer of King Kar, joining us live from Brazil this evening. Renata, a very warm welcome to you and thank you very much for joining us. If anyone would like to ask a question, use the Q&A or chat function. I'm not sure which one we've got open. I think it might be chat, so you can just type it in. Or possibly we can turn to you in a moment. And I'll be keeping an eye on what comes in from the audience, but I'm going to start things off on the conversation just to get things going and warm us up. Yeah, so Renata, congratulations on such an incredible film. Like, it's a film that has so much to say. It's got so much depth to it. And there's so much we could talk about, really. So I want to start things off from the start, I suppose, and ask you, how did King Kar begin? What was the beginning of King Kar, and how did we get to the film that we've seen today?
Hi everybody, thank you very much for this opportunity, and well, it's such an honor to be at this festival with King Kar. Well, King Kar this project started like 7 years ago, and 4 years ago, we started to produce the film. And so we get a lot of meetings because at that time I was like, I was like thinking about change everything. And we did it. We just rewrite everything again. Because here in Brazil, we have a big change. And now I think you must say that we have a government that is very bad for us, for the culture and for our people. And I thought that our screenplay have to be with this message. And so we keep it the main character, but we change a lot the history. And then that's the King Kar, with history that talks about, you know, the transhumanism, talks about authoritarianism and bad governments and technology, and maybe the talks about our future as well, because, you know, I am from a generation that we saw the technology going really fast to inside our lives, and that's very different for people that, you know, born like 10 years ago. And maybe 20 years ago. For us, it's very, you know, our life has changed a lot. And I don't think it's bad, but I think we have to think about that. And maybe to know, maybe to think about what is going to us, you know, in our future. And I think King Kar talks about that. All my films, I use it to have the main history with the main characters in you know, social context. All of my films. So that's one of what I was, you know, thinking that in that moment, and till now, it's important for us here in Brazil. And I thank you very much, because I think we can communicate ourselves, you know, with you and with others countries and cultures and everything. That's really, really nice to me.
Brilliant. Thank you. I think, yeah, like it's something that I find really impressive about the film is how it's of course got this dystopian fantasy sort of element to it all, of course, sort of very central element to it all, but it feels like such a current and, you know, relatable film. Like you can watch it and go, this could be happening right now, you know, if it wasn't just for that element of fantasy. And I just wondered, you know, do you feel that using fantasy, dystopia, horror is kind of a way of being able to tell that story better, that you can kind of reflect on that, the sort of horrible current situation in a way that's more effective maybe than telling it in a realist sort of way?
Yeah, I think when we use fantasy and a little bit of the horror grammatical, you know, and the visual effects, and you know, when you prepare the audience to some sensations, you can reach exactly what you want. In my case, you know, to talk about our reality, about the Brazilian reality, is so surreal, you know, what we're living now, that I thought we could be more, to catch more people using the fantasy to maybe to talk about the real thing, you know. I don't get to be understandable, but you know, because our reality is so unreal that I thought fantasy maybe will approximate us from the reality. That's what I want to say. And I think I like very much the sci-fi films, and maybe that's why I use something of, you know, dystopia as well, because I really like this kind of movies. And here in Brazil, you know, we have the people that doesn't like this government, but we have the other side, people that likes. And maybe I am trying to put some fantasy, you know, and some kind of pop movie to catch this kind of people too, people that will see the movie and maybe after hours we'll understand the message, and we'll understand that this movie is like something that's put them to think about what is going on here.
Brilliant. So it's as a way to reach people, that you're not just giving people messages that they already know and want to hear. It's reaching more people beyond that, isn't it? I think that's a great power to sort of fantasy and horror and genre, you know, that sort of fantastic sort of film. But I think I suppose sort of a related question maybe is that something that makes it feel very real as a film, I think, is the locations of the film itself. So I wonder, can you tell us a little bit about where the film was made, how it was to shoot the film sort of on location and things like that?
Okay, well, I live in Pernambuco, that's like our state, you know, and my city is Recife, it's near to the sea, and we find Caruaru, that's the city I shoot the film, more appropriate, because there it's like a city where there is like connecting another cities, and there's a lot of cars always, and the cars pass to Caruaru, to another city, and their car are like everybody loves car, and we have like you know, I don't know, the young people love car, everybody loves car, and we have a lot of you know, like shopping to cars and everything. Like it's like a cultural, it's cultural thing is loving car. And so we thought that maybe there we can find the, you know, the really Brazil as well, because there we find Brazilian people, you know. It's not like a city with American way of life, you know. That's Brazil. There's not, we didn't have massive migration to there. This was like Brazilian people doing a city, and we thought that that was better to our movie, mainly because that, you know, to show even to us Brazil where we are, what we are, because, you know, television maybe every doesn't show us, and the cinema have to do that.
That's brilliant. That's really nice. It did feel like you were getting a real taste for the location and the place it is in the film.
Yeah. No, sorry about the locations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I used to be art director, you know, production design. I mean, many years of my life, and as well there I found really nice places to become our sets of film, of the film. And I work with a friend, and Karen started with me, so we know how to work together to do everything, you know. In the yeah, I think we get something special.
Definitely, I think so. I think it definitely feels special in the film, and I think that's brilliant that there's that collaboration behind it.
Yeah.
You mentioned being a production designer, so I have to ask about the car itself.
Okay.
The car itself. Did you design the car? How is it making it a usable vehicle and sort of fitting your vision of what you wanted? Because it's such a brilliant character, of course, you know, of itself, alongside all the people.
Yeah. Well, that car was like really cheap, because our production, we didn't have money, and we bought a car really about, I think, free doesn't matter, because, you know, it's another thing. Well, was really cheap, and we tried like 4-5 drawings projects, and I was like giving it up. I'm not satisfied with the result, but then I don't know why we got it. We got the last project, and that's really nice, because the car is a little bit feel on the future and on the past, like retro, and as well has a good vibe, you know. The car has I don't know how to say in English, charisma, some charisma, yeah. And maybe it's evil, but we like it. We like in a way. That's why nice, because you know, in front of the car we have like a smile, and that was really important because the other thing very difficult to me was find the good, the perfect voice to the car, and that took some months till we find the right voice. Yeah, but was everything without money, with just a little bit.
The whole film looks so impressive. If it was made, on a low budget, I don't think you when you sit and watch the film, I don't think you sit and think this is a low budget film. And I think it looks fantastic. No, absolutely. Yeah, you talk about the the whole cast of the film is wonderful, and finding the right people for that. And I just think something, actually, before I ask this question, just a reminder, if you've joined us after the start of this, if you want to ask anything out there from the audience, feel free to pop it in the chat box, and I will keep an eye on it. The performances, something I really like in particular about the film, and I think is related to the fantasy aspect, is the very sort of the physicality of some of the performances in particular, and the fact that there's choreography in it and things like that. And I just wondered if was that sort of your decision? Did it develop as you worked with certain actors, or how did that all come about? How did that aspect of the film come about?
Yeah, well, that's one thing that I think we found together, because we have like 1 month taking research, rehearsals together, and I have a good preparation as well. Larissa, that prepared our actors. I was always there, but yeah, we were trying to get different bodies, because if you see, Mercedes has a way of acting, and Zé Macaco another one, and the young cast another one, and yeah, that was really we took risk, doing that, but well, we were doing such an original movie, so I was trying to do whatever I want in that movie, that's a risk, but I think now we are happy, we are glad with this result. But yeah, because we have a car that speaks, that try to be a human, and we have a guy that has some problem with his body, and that's why maybe they become something that I don't want to say, because some of you didn't see the film, and maybe that's related to Jane, because the car has a Jane that's female or male, Mercedes, that says, well, I had sex with machines before, and a guy that the name is Monkey, Zé Macaco is Monkey. And I thought, well, let's try to have this diversity, the different kind of bodies in these movies, this movie.
Brilliant. Yeah,
we had freedom, we have freedom to do this.
The film benefits from that, because I think it just becomes, feels like a much more authentic and real film, because you're not looking at the same kinds of people over and over again. You know, it's realistic. It's more of a, while it's also fantastic, it's also realistic because it feels a lot more close to life, I think. Yeah. We have some
I live in a crazy country. Sorry. I live in a crazy country that we can find a Zé Macaco and a Mercedes on the street. That's for sure.
That's brilliant. It sounds like a good place to me. So. So I've got a few questions in the chat, actually. I've got a couple more that I've got, but I'll turn to the audience first. So Chris asks, the film has excellent sound design. What was it like working with DJ Dolores, the composer, on working on the sound design and the music and so on?
And the sound designer was made by Guilherme Martins. And the original sound, the original music was made by DJ Dolores. That's a friend and a very brilliant guy that I work in every film I made. And well, they did a really good work in this film, and we had a lot of work together as well, because at the beginning I was trying to make a voice with the sound of the metals, you know, of the cars, and from the engineer of the car, but that was not possible, and that was not a good way to take. And then we changed a little bit in the working in progress. I changed it to use a voice that was like a little bit with little bit sound of metal, but not like a robot, you know. And that I find with Gilly and DJ Dolores, they were so special to me, because, you know, sometimes we imagine something that when you go to do that, it doesn't work, and we have to change the concept. And another thing about the music is, if you think about a Brazilian movie, you will think about samba and you know, and music from here. But I thought that's not a movie to be with only with samba, only with, you know, coco. That's another rhythm. We have to put like what we listen here as well, because we like techno music as well. And why not, you know, why not use that in a geography very different of techno music, in a concept of film that technical music comes very well. Tech music is so well. I think that was really nice, because at the end we have a little bit of everything, and we have always we have old song as well, really nice to me. That's Caruaru. Dalva de Oliveira is the singer, and that he was alive, you know. I'm sorry, she Dalva de Oliveira. She is in of the same time of Carmen Miranda, you know, Carmen Miranda. And you can see, you know, the song is of that time. And it's as well so what we are, you know, a little bit of samba, a little bit of old songs and techno music as well.
Thank you. I have another question from the audience, from Gareth. And he asks, I'd like to know if you were influenced by any other films when you were planning King Car. What other films did you draw inspiration from, if any?
Yeah. I don't think I have influence, direct influence, in King Car, because I was trying to do, with freedom, without a reference, without everything. But I like, maybe that movie connect me with another time when I was young, and when I used it to see, Spielberg and Fellini, Italy and America together, something between them. Yeah, and but I don't have one movie that I could say, well, after watching this movie, I wish to do the King Car. That was not like that, but no, I am a little bit of everything together.
Thank you. I'm going to ask maybe one more question, because I'm conscious of time. But if there's any more audience questions, stick them in the chat quickly and I'll get to those. So I want to ask you about how audiences have responded to the film. So, how you've played festivals across the world, I think. How has the reaction from the audience or critics been? And is it different in Brazil? Because I imagine the Brazilian critics and audience might see more of the kind of reality that your film's reflecting that maybe some of us global audiences see. So yeah, I'm curious to hear from you what that reaction has been like.
Okay, well, unfortunately, I've never seen this movie in a cinema with the audience till now. That's really hard. It have never happened to me. That's the first time. But I'm glad, because this movie is going to a lot of countries, and here we won the best award in a big festival. Just when we started to show in Brazil, that was at the Gramado Film Festival, and we won like the best movie, the best sound designer, the best music, the best production designer. And I was like, thank you very much, because that's really difficult, It's difficult. I think I was surprised, very surprised with this result, and glad. But it's like unbelievable. Till now, I haven't been in a cinema, with the audience and watching our movie. That's really unbelievable. I hope we get it soon, because in April we are going to the cinemas here in Brazil, and maybe the first night I will invite friends and invite everybody, the cast, the crew, and maybe we can do a party afterwards. I think we deserve it.
Definitely, absolutely. Yeah, that must be so difficult to not get that opportunity so far. So I hope you get that. And I hope that our audience watching it as part of WOW will put lots of messages on the internet about how much they've enjoyed it, so you get some sense, maybe, even though it's not the same, not quite the same. I've got one more audience question has just come in to me from Steph, and it's an excellent question. So this is from Steph. Renata, you're one of the very few female directors of feature films in Pernambuco. Has it got any easier to be a woman in this space? And especially as you're working in maybe a very sort of male-dominated world with sci-fi in that type of film. So what are your experiences like there?
My experience is really hard. And that's why I told you that I was surprised when I won the big award, you know, because that's for the males, you know, the men's is really in advantage in here in my country. Now the things are beginning to change, but you know, it's not easy for us because they, you know, when I say they, I think generally, you know, everybody wants from the female director something perfect, you know. If you are not perfect, the thing the thing goes to the male, that a man's movie can be not perfect, but when you are a human, you have to be perfect, and that's really hard. You know, the expectation is high with us, and that's not the only thing. You know, the opportunities goes to them as well. And here, you know, I have to work a lot with production designer. And when I said, no, it's okay to me, I want to do my things, my movies. At the beginning, my first short film was in Cannes. And I said, wow, I'm so glad, you know. But what do you know what happened to me when I came back to my city? I didn't receive like congratulations from the people that I worked before. I was what? I was really so shocked. But okay, I'm here and I keep working very hard. No problem.
Oh, well, you know, we've had films where we've screened from other female directors, and we often ask this sort of question, and I think it's a similar answer, I think, that we get, and that's from American female directors, and I think, you know, female directors from like Laos and all sorts of places have a similar answer. So it's
Okay,
hopefully
yeah.
things will keep progressing the way they should, because, you know, as we've all seen, there's all such brilliant films that we can showcase. So I think I've got one last question, and it's come through from Chris. And I think it's an appropriate question after what you've just said, which is just to ask, after this great film, what have you got planned for the future? What's coming next?
Okay. Well, my next movie, you know, is called New Stonehenge, and it's happened here in my neighborhood. And yes, there's something of fantasy as well. It's a square just in front of my building that has some menhirs of metal. Something very strange will happen here. And as well, everything happened in a social contest that I want to talk about, you know, the social layers we have here. I want to put everybody together and see what will happen. And well, the title till now is New Stonehenge, or Nova Stonehenge in Portuguese.
Well, that's exciting. I'm glad there's an element of fantasy. I'll be keeping an eye out for it. Absolutely. Maybe next year, maybe soon we'll be back, or we'll bring you over to Wales. You never know.
Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah, it'd be brilliant. So yeah, I think it's probably all we've got time for, but can I just thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us on behalf of the audience and behalf of Abertoir and Wow Film Festival for your brilliant film. It's been such a pleasure to screen it and to be able to talk to you about it. And we'll look forward to the next.
Yeah, thank you very, very much. Thank you, the audience. Thank you, the festival. Really, really honored to be with you, to be in the Whale Film Festival. Thank you very much. I hope we meet together next year or maybe one more time.
Absolutely. Brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.